Right, who am I? My name's Sean, currently sitting in a gallery or a show that I'm meant to be holding about paintings, about windows. You might have gathered that from the posters. I've done the show mostly because I have freaking an overwhelming personal problem just around portraiture in general. Because that's the only reason I'm doing these shows, with these curtains. Just because the only thing that seemed natural to the idea of portraiture. Because I started off doing portraits for years, just because everybody could say, oh, that looks like Henry. So it was good, it was gratification. But after a while, you just start feeling like a bloody... It's nice being a portrait painter or something like that, because you get to meet people. Especially if you do it from life, you get to meet people now, and you get involved with them, especially if it's a sitter you've chosen or somebody you want to be a part of. You usually just do, I don't know about other people, but for me, when I was doing portraits, it was just because I wanted to get to know them. But then it became, that was so personal, just getting to know them through painting, that when I didn't want to show them, because it felt like everybody was just cutting into our space. They had no portraiture, and the idea of documenting the person seemed to be the potent part, but actually showing it seemed to be the intrusive part. And it's the intruding part that's really why I've been doing curtains, or windows, why I've done a window show, but I've been exhibiting the curtains. So the windows just felt natural, because if my issue, and this is my issue, it's not about, I'm not trying to badmouth portraiture as an entire genre or people who do portraiture, it's just when I was doing it, this was the issue that came up. Because I loved looking at portraits until I came around one that just really bugged me, because I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be involved in this. And that was the thing with portraits for me. I felt like I wasn't supposed to be involved. I know paintings usually have to be shown, not even have to be shown, they just are. They're celebrated in their exhibitions. But just looking at somebody that somebody studied and then presenting it to the world in this little frame, this little painted frame, just felt wrong, especially after centuries. Like, if there's been hundreds of years, these people are dead, and you're really getting into this person's space. And I didn't really, I liked that idea, I liked that it was that potent that it made me feel like I had a strong feeling from it. Like, I felt like I felt like a creep, just because I felt like I was just intruding all this stuff. So the windows kind of came up because they seemed like they were a revised subject. They were used quite a lot in painting. Like, if you look at artists just use the windows as a way to frame the space or show how light comes in. And it's usually a subject looking out of it. So the only way I could connect the windows to this idea of intruding was just to focus on people looking in, because that's where all my problems are. It's looking in, it's looking of the surface. And the curtains these have just developed over years, trial and error. I've painted curtains for the past 3 years now, and they've just been trying to get better than the last curtains I did. Big paintings were always looked at as quite an intimidating thing, or quite this big object, and I didn't want that. It wasn't about, the scale was just about just having enough space to actually do some decent variations and arcs. The size, I didn't want the size to be the thing. So the walls became a thing. It was just trying to do an effort of subduing the big paintings, because I didn't want the paintings to be casting shadows or anything, because that shows these objects. I just wanted to have them quieten down so much, just so it lets the actual colours talk, or actually lets the compositions talk. It wasn't about the object, it's about the surface. That's why I've done the walls. And it kind of helps its idea, Because if these things are inwards, then it helps the idea that the viewer, when they come by, they're looking into something that's not just bouncing right off a surface. Everything feels like it's going in.
Yeah. If you could ask any artist, dead or alive, any question, what would it be?
I mean, I'd probably just ask why the rampart. That's
What
it.
is that in reference to?
Oh, Rothko. Mark Rothko. I won't really talk about that, it's a bit too dark. Hey. Gives you something to Google.